deep breath and reach your arms up and back, and then bring your hands down to the ground. Walk out to a plank, drop your hips down, stretch up into upward facing dog or cobra, and we're gonna go back and forth between downward facing dog and upward facing dog or cobra a few times. Push back into your heels in the downward facing dog, drop your hips to the ground, look up, push out of your shoulders in the cobra. Try to keep your hips on the ground. When you come back to downward facing dog, push those heels down, chest towards the mat, booty up to the sky. Come forward one more time, back to cobra, flatten your feet on the ground, ears away from the shoulders. And again, back to downward facing dog. Walk your heels from side to side. Really push into the hip, feel the stretch in your hamstrings and your calves. You can spend as much time here as you like. When you're ready, bring both heels to the ground. Deep stretch in downward dog, and then shift forward into a plank, bringing one knee forward with you, and then extend the leg back. Try to keep your hips parallel to the ground, and then rotate your hip up and open. You can drop the foot over at the top for an extra deep stretch. Swing your foot forward, bring it down next to your hands. Drop the hips down. We're now in a runner's lunge and gonna rotate the arm up, stretch back, return back to the ground, and then step back to downward dog. We're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Shift forward into a plank, bring the other knee forward with you, and then push back. Stretch your leg back, dropping both hips parallel to the ground. And then you can rotate up, open up the hips, and let the foot drop over at the top for a deep stretch. Hold any position for as long as you feel like. Swing that foot back down and forward, bring it down next to your hands, back into runner's lunge, and then the same arm of the knee that is forward is going to rotate up and back. A few deep breaths here. Return your hand to the ground and step the foot back into downward dog one more time. Pushing back into your heels. You can wiggle your hips a little bit, feel that stretch in your hamstrings. We're going to bring that first leg back up and then swing the knee forward and down to the ground. We're going to sit down into a pigeon. You can use your hands to push back into your booty. Try to keep both hips on the ground. Take a deep breath, reach your arms up and back. And then release your arms to the ground in front of you. Fold them and rest your head on your hands. This is a sleeping pigeon. Try to push both hips towards the ground. You should feel a stretch in the butt cheek. Hands back under the shoulders, toes back on the ground, stepping back into a plank and then back into downward dog. I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Reach one leg back and then swing your knee forward and down to the ground. Sitting down onto your hip bones, flattening out your foot in the back. You can use your hands to push back. Try to keep your back straight, shoulders away from the ears. And you can rock from side to side, massaging your hips into the mat. Take a deep breath, reach your arms up and back. And then release your arms to the ground, fold them in front of you, and rest your forehead on your hands, stretching into your hips. And again, you should feel a nice stretch in your butt cheek here. Stay for as long as you like. When you're ready, we're going to return the hands under the shoulders on the mat. Tuck those toes under, push up into a plank, step your foot back into downward dog. And stretch here one more time, chest towards the mat, heels towards the ground, and then slowly walk your hands back until all your weight is on your feet, and dangle here for a moment. Release your neck and shoulders. You can grab your hands behind your back and let them drop forward for a stretch in your shoulders. Make sure you're not locking out your knees here. You want to have a slight bend in your knees. Just protect your joints. It's usually a good idea not to lock them out entirely. And return your hands back to the ground. You can fold your arms, hold onto your elbows so your full weight is hanging off of your spine. Dangle over to the right foot, dangle over to the left. You will feel the stretch in your hips and in your butt. And whenever you're ready, come back to center and then slowly roll out one vertebrae at a time. Take a deep breath at the top, reach up and back. I'm going to come into wide stance and go into a sumo squat, pushing out the knees to the side. Your toes are slightly turned out to the side. Try to keep your back straight, your abs are engaged. And then you can use your forearms or elbows on the inside of your knees to push them out. Shift from side to side, really pushing those heels and toes into the ground. Your weight should be evenly distributed on your whole foot on both sides. You can shift your feet in a little bit closer so you can get a little bit lower. And just keep wiggling from side to side, really feeling the stretch in your hip flexors, pushing into your ankles. And when you're ready, just sit down on the ground, extend your legs. Now, whenever you're stretching, you want to make sure that you are activating the muscle. When we stretch a muscle that is relaxed, we're not really helping ourselves. We do want to keep tension in the muscle the entire time so that we're not just building up flexibility but also strength at the same time. Stretch forward and then walk over to one side. Remember to keep tension in both legs, pushing the back of the knees into the ground, flexing your feet. Walk over to the other side. Again, spend as much time here as you like. Come back to center, stretch forward. We're trying to keep the back as straight as possible. This is a stretch for your hamstrings, hip flexors, calves, lower back. And then come back up to center, arms out to the side, and windmill from toe to toe. Opposite hand touches opposite foot, and the other arm stretches back. Remember to keep tension in your legs, pushing the back of the knees into the ground. Come back to center and windmill over, reaching the opposite hand to the opposite foot. We are now stretching our obliques and our lats, so the side of our bodies, as well as our legs, of course. If you can't reach your foot, don't worry, just tap your calf, your shin, wherever you can reach. And then windmill over to the other side and repeat the same thing on the other side. Opposite hand to opposite foot, stretching your obliques, your lats, your back, your legs. You can rotate your head a little bit, stretch out your neck, adjust whatever needs to be adjusted. You can see me feel my obliques here. I want to make sure that I'm getting the right muscles. And when you're ready, come back up to center. Deep breath, reach up. We're going to reach forward one more time. If you can touch your elbows to the ground, that's nice. If not, don't worry about it. And when you're ready, grab under your knees, help your legs up, and give yourself a good rub down. Bring the soles of your feet together and then hold on to the front of your feet, shifting your hips towards the heels. Let gravity take care of your knees, let them fall out to the side. And you want to push your chest out forward, pull your shoulders down. You can pull yourself into your feet, keeping your shoulders back and down. And then we're going to use this time to stretch your neck. Roll the head from side to side, pointing the chin up to the sky. Pointing the chin down to shoulders, whatever feels good for you. My neck is very tight, so I spend a lot of time here. Please ignore the cat fight in the background. And remember to keep pushing that chest out, tilting the pelvis forward, straight back. Release, stretch out one leg to the front, and we're gonna stretch, pull on the leg. Use this moment to really stretch those toes back, fold them forward. And then switch legs, extend the other leg, fold the other one, and pull towards the leg. You can hold onto your foot. Give yourself a quick foot rub. And release. Come onto all fours. We're going to do, I call it happy cat, grumpy cat, round your back up, and then arch and look up, pointing the chin to the sky. This is also called cat-cow. I'm sure there's more names for this exercise, but happy cat, grumpy cat is my favorite. This is a great stretch to do if you're sitting a lot. And now come back into child's pose. You can bring your big toes together and bring the knees apart to give yourself a little bit more room to fold towards the floor. Relax here. Take a few deep breaths. Let gravity do its thing. Whenever you're ready, slowly come up. Come back onto all fours. We're going to come back into a cobra here. Chin to the sky, hips on the ground. Slowly roll down, extend your arms in 45 degrees, and keeping both feet on the ground, we're going to roll over and let one arm drop back. You should be feeling the stretch in your chest, maybe in your abs or obliques, whatever is tightest on you in the front. Stay here for as long as you like. You can also move your arm up and down. Come back to center and then roll over to the other side. Again, try to keep both feet on the ground. And just let gravity do its thing. When you're ready, come back onto your stomach. Take your time, hands back under the shoulders, push up. You can stretch into another cobra and then come back into downward dog. I'm going to shake everything out. We're close to the end of our stretch. You can add whatever you feel you need. And walk your hands back until all your weight is back on your feet and dangle again. Feel gravity lengthening your spine. Shake out your head. Release your shoulders. Release your neck. Wiggle around, shake it out. Push into those hips. Shift your weight from foot to foot. Dangle from side to side. You can hold onto your elbows. You can keep your hands on the ground. You can hold onto your hands behind your back and let those hands drop forward again, whatever feels good. Remember not to lock the knees out. Soft knees. And then whenever you're ready, we're going to roll up super slow, one vertebrae at a time. When you reach the top, take another deep breath, reach up and back, and then reach from side to side. Really stretch that spine in all directions. You can take another deep breath, shake everything out. If you like, you can add some wrist and ankle rolls, holding onto both of your hands, just rolling your hands from side to side, stretching your wrists. And you can do the same with your ankles, keeping your toes on the ground. Just rotate those ankles from side to side, really pushing into it. 15-minute morning and evening stretch. I hope you enjoyed.